Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere, and even earn money. We like that. All in one place for totally free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your cellular telephone or your computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else, those other places that podcasts are heard.
Video podcasts are also available on Spotify, and when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, Q&As and polls are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free, zero catch. We've been using it ever since we started How Long Gone. And ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, I feel like having the option of turning off the Q&As and the polls on the user dashboard has really helped boost my creativity and take it to another level. I highly recommend giving it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. I'm glad to be celebrating our hatred of holidays, the government, etc., by protesting the only way we can, by creating a podcast episode and releasing content, choosing not to observe this holiday.
Yeah. I would say that releasing content on July 4th is a big FU to Uncle Sam.
Yeah, this is actually punk as hell when you think about it.
Yeah, when you really think about it. But yeah, another twisted weekend of pointless social gatherings, food I don't want to eat, and errands that have to be run. The action slows down on the internet. Holidays, once again, are for losers, and don't you ever forget it.
Yeah, I noticed that you're even Chris Black's Twitter, you haven't tweeted in a couple days. That's how slow this
There's nothing to... This is why holidays are so... What do people do? Like, recharge with their family? Get a life. Get a life.
I mean, obviously you have... a skewed opinion, not in a bad way, just you're different from the norms of most people in that you are sober, and holidays are literally just sort of now created and marketed to just be a reason to drink. And holidays it's been enjoyable for a long time for many people, myself included.
The gluttonous, but how were you feeling after yesterday?
You're talking about TJ's Dry July? Oh.
TJ's Dry July doesn't seem to be going great. I mean, you're doing what you set out to do, but it doesn't seem like it's great for your mental.
My girl and I are doing a little kind of staycation getaway tomorrow for the next few days.
I hope that doesn't affect our content schedule.
It won't affect our content schedule, of course, Chris. Don't worry.
Right. Just want to check. I want you to have you on record saying it won't affect our content schedule.
It won't affect our you know that, Chris. But that's going to be my real vacation holiday. It's
your real holiday.
Kind of, I mean, like, I don't know what it is, if it's COVID fucking our brains up or whatever, but like when everyone is inviting each other to their like backyard barbecues and pool party vibes and natural wine gatherings, the only thing I'm thinking of is like, oh, I would like to do all of this just with none of you here. No offense to my close friends and family, but
thank you.
It's not a vacation if I have to be on and entertain and have thoughtful opinions, and I want to lay by a pool alone with a book and some
First of all, you can't read.
I'm only reading screenplays. I got a lot to get through.
Good point. Yeah. Your assistant could only read so many. You made them work over the holiday weekend.
Yeah, I'm doing my part.
Bro, we went to 2 barbecues yesterday, and look, I had a great time, but it wasn't a Mensa gathering. It's not like we're asking you to talk about real issues. We're shooting the shit.
I know. But I think I may have been desensitized, or not desensitized, but like I've been programmed as an elite gatekeeping podcast creator to where like, why am I talking to you people about all this stuff when I could be saying it into a microphone for our thousands and thousands of loyal listeners and fans who will, get enjoyment out of it, be entertained by it, and then also I can make a nickel off of it versus giving it away for free to all these folks.
So you're saying talking to friends and acquaintances is now looked at as a lost income stream.
Precisely.
Damn, bro, that's twisted. I thought I was twisted because I hate holidays and people act like I'm a Grinch. What you just said is even worse. You can't even have a conversation with somebody without recording it for money.
Well, I can. I would just.
But you don't want
I just
to.
don't see the point. I just don't see the reason to.
Damn. So I guess we're never going to hang out again unless we got the mic. I mean, that's fine with me.
Talking to you is fine. It's more. I don't feel the need to entertain you as much, or it's easier for you because we're so close versus other. Like, hey, haven't seen you in a while. What have you been up to? And you're just like, and then the Curb Your Enthusiasm music starts playing in my head. I'm like, well, I've been doing this and, work's going good. And,
no, it's true. It's true.
All that stuff. But
well, look, Jason, think about this.
I'm not actually complaining, but now I'm saying now that, we talk about it all the time, where I'll complain about stuff, and you're like, yeah, motherfucker, try doing it without drinking, and then talk to me about how bad all these parties are. And now that I've been sober for 72 hours,
you're feeling that.
Oh, I'm in a tailspin.
First of all, I would like to just not to blow your spot up, but just to clear some things up. You are gone off the eddies though, so you're not really.
Marijuana is not a drug. All of our listeners know that. Shout outs to our friends at Pure Beauty. You guys.
I'm not saying it's a drug or it's not a drug. I'm just saying you're under the influence of something. I'm literally gone off of a small cup of sparkling water that someone was nice enough to give me when they were juggling a case of wine in their left hand.
Well, the difference is for me, I am not a social smoker. I can't the idea of me.
Yeah, you are a pussy. You can only smoke. You can only chief on the couch.
Yeah, me hitting the spleef and then. Meeting a bunch of new folks is my idea of liquid hell. Like that when the ocean is on fire in the Gulf of Mexico, that's what my brain thinks getting super, super baked and then meeting a bunch of new people and talking is.
Super, super lit.
So all I want to do as an antisocial smoker where I take care of...
Are you saying that you're a member of the Antisocial Smoker Club?
Yeah, I'm not anti. I am just plain old anti.
Just regular anti.
I'm just regular anti. So all I'm thinking about is me cannot wait to go home and chief solo. Take my clothes off, get a nice beverage that I can control, have whatever I want. Listen to some music, watch a movie, just lay around. That's my idea of it's Virgo problems.
Look, I'm with you, King.
And as much as I hate the way alcohol makes me feel after consuming it and how it inhibits my ability to drive legally, I hate what it does for my caloric intake, the way my body feels, my hangovers, my anxiety, my depression, etc., etc. It is truly a perfect social drug.
That's why it's the most popular thing in America, probably, besides obviously Donald Trump.
It's mainly Trump.
It's mainly Trump. Yeah, I understand. Unfortunately, I think socializing has become even more of my life's blood, considering I can't lubricate it with any substances. So I have to get.
You're white knuckling it.
I'm white knuckling, but I have to get high off the challenge of conversation with newbies. The mental warfare of keeping a conversation going with someone that may or may not be interesting is kind of how I flex my...
Chris said, I'm sober, but hold my beer. I'm about to freaking talk to you guys about all kinds of stuff.
All my 0.0 Heineken while mansplain polo shirts to you, okay?
Yeah. Okay, that's good. No, I like the way that you're repackaging that into a way that could work for you. I think that's healthy.
Well, yesterday at the first event, thank you to Darren and Lonnie, our hosts, but that was a professional event.
Yeah.
That had grown and sexy, we make a little cash energy, which obviously puts me at ease.
Yeah, it had throw it in the bag vibes.
There was the amount of natural wine and champagnes that had been brought into the ice bucket. It was over. There was no room. It couldn't even.
Yeah. The bucket full of natty wine was literally overflowing. If this was just a week ago and it was normal broke hoe TJ looking to get a nice funky orange or three into my gullet, I would have been
free buzz.
I would have been.
You'd have been twisted.
Happy as a pig and shit, but
It dead ass looked like somebody robbed Psychic Wines. You know what I mean?
yeah. But instead, I'm like, ooh. Do y'all have Spindrift?
Now these kombuchas, they're not hard, right? I just want to be clear. But who was the chef they hired? Because that was serious business.
They hired a primal paleo leaning taco man. I spoke to him briefly. He's from Riverside.
He was wearing a Ben Davis snapback, so I trusted him.
That's lit. They give those to you in the mail if you live in Riverside.
I didn't realize that. Okay, that's great. But yeah, it was
as a taxpayer, they just give them.
It was a very professional activation. There was just a few kids around. The sun was out.
Especially coming days off of the article that was trending about how grilling meat is a inferior cooking method. Did you see this going around, Chris?
Oh, I'm sorry. I skip over stuff like that because it's not in my interest area, but I would love to get the Cliff's notes from TJ.
I didn't read the article because it was clearly just clickbait stuff to get.
What was it?
It was basically just some like
outlet. No. What
I think it was Food Insider, which is an offshoot of Business Insider.
Oh, fuck out of here, bro. Business Insider. You want me to pay $50 to read about the Dutch oven divas, and now you want me to pay you want me to keep my subscription going to read about you shitting on grilling, America's favorite pastime?
Couldn't get further away from the inside, if you ask me.
That's anti-American sentiment.
It is. But
not on July 4th.
Some
not
fucking
on July 4th.
Boner wrote an article about how let's be honest, grilling is the worst way to cook, and that's why. And it was coming from, and it was like, this is why we all cook most of our food indoors, because it's a superior method. And it listed all these reasons, like your grill is probably really dirty.
I thought that made the shit taste better.
Yeah. It's the same type of like a white guy complaining about like the cast iron skillet having a bunch of bacon grease on it. Like that's a bad thing. Like that's literally the idea of it. That's the whole point, is to have seasoning.
At a certain point, are we just going to start seeing articles where like sex sucks? Here's why. Like honestly, drugs and sex and eating are about all we have. Like let's just let it rock, man. Like let it rock.
Yeah.
Like, of course, there's bad versions and good versions of all this stuff, but that's the lowest form of clickbait.
It is. It really is. I mean, but also that form of clickbait and those types of articles, like, they have the potential to be entertaining, fun, and funny, and not so serious. Like
but they're always serious.
Yeah, but they're always serious, and they're always written by like a super dorky ass person, and all of their takes are just, they're not insensitive to other cultures, but they're just like really ignorant and close-minded, and like somebody with a very small worldview.
Well, it's only funny if you just shit on it and you're stupid about it, not trying to make some like intellectual.
I mean, but even if your takes are intellectually sound and they just happen to be like,
no, they're boring,
kind of silly and funny, then like that's great. I'll read that shit if it's purely for entertainment. But those articles are just purely so they'll be trending on Twitter, and then everyone will read it and want to click through, and they'll make an extra $7,000 on their fucking.
This reminds me of the different but similar when the LA bagel bait story was just
sorry New York, LA makes the best New York style pizza now, here's why, and then they're like, are you fucking kidding me, dude?
Dude, are you fucking serious, dude? Nah, but it's I mean, that's insane, and I'm glad I missed that, because there's enough articles that I read that make me mad. That's kind of all I do all day is read about how TikTokers want to unionize, and they want health benefits for being content creators.
That is something I agree with as an influencer.
You are a content. I actually I helped TJ create some content yesterday. What did you think of some of my work? Is it usable?
I don't know if it's going to be usable. Luckily, we blacked out 2 days on the calendar. I'm gonna be shooting today as well. We'll see if I can pull anything.
Okay, because I'm sorry, I was under pressure. It was a little hot. I didn't realize what I was getting into.
I know. No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. But this is why, as a producer, you want to schedule more days than less, just to make sure. Safety days.
When budget's not a concern of a small production of this size, we're kind of doing it for the love, so it's not that. I don't mind working on a holiday, is what I'm saying.
I do it for the love of signal boosting direct to consumer VC funded companies.
I do it
making sure that their life's dreams and goals are fulfilled and reached.
I just want more stuff out there in the world. So if I can help that in any way, then I'm kind of I feel pretty good
Just
about
more
it.
stuff. But I mean, that's an attitude that I have been trying to take as I am creating more branded hashtag ad content. Is like, anyone can do it and anyone can complain about it and anyone can think it's cheesy. But I think it is cool and interesting when somebody's not like, I'm going to do this thing that is going to suck and I'm just going to do the sucky thing and I'm going to get money for it and it's just going to be a bummer and hopefully in a few days it'll all blow over and then we'll forget that I did this.
You did do another Mercury jewelry campaign, and I'm sorry to see that. I'm sorry to see that, but look, I understand. Money is money.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to do that, but I think it's more interesting when anybody does a thing that's more difficult of like, I'm going to attempt to be the person who made this thing that was not cool or good cool and good for the first time, and I feel like that's how you really...
I would love to challenge you then. I'm going to start reaching out to... Yeah, I follow this newsletter that tells me about new DTC brands. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'm just going to reach out to the craziest ones and see if they'll get you to do sponsored content.
Yeah, absolutely. I say the same thing when I'm talking to my life partner about stuff where she's a wardrobe stylist. A brand that's really bad wants to hire her to do something, and she's like, I don't know. I always try to tell her, like, anyone can be like, hey, can you style this Bottega Veneta shoot?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, can I make like a cool and popular brand look cool and popular? Like, pretty much anyone could do that, But if you can really, I feel like you really make waves and people take notice when you're like, oh, this person made Zara look actually really sick or H&M look actually really sick.
That's what I did.
That's how you move the chains.
That's what I did with you. They said, Chris, we got this thing. It's not great, but we think you could do something with it, something special with it. And that's how How Long Gone was kind of born.
A lot of people will say like, it's a little rough around the edges, but the bones are there. But for me, it's like the bones aren't there. and it is a little rough around the edges.
So let me say,
the redeeming values are yet to be determined.
But that's why you bring in someone at my level. You bring in someone at my level, a little more top-down approach, kind of a hands-off.
Top-down and hands-off that's exactly how you get me in bed.
Exactly. I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
I can do it with no hands. You know that, right, Chris?
You've told me that before. I have yet to witness it. So please let me know when you're going to do it with no hands soon. I would love to see that.
Yeah. I mean, in the last 6 months, a lot of people have learned that they love the way that my booty go when I do it with no hands.
That's why you're getting these sponsored content deals and I'm not.
Well, not everyone's willing to show as much skin as I am.
Speaking of ass, I was reading page 6 this morning.
I don't think it's that bad, but go ahead.
I saw some breaking news that Noah, Cyrus, and Demi Lovato were holding hands at the Space Jam A New Legacy after party at Six Flags. And bro, I'm just saying, I hope that these two are happy and in love. They've been through a lot, but so there's this picture of them, and their outfits are absolutely fucking demented. Like the craziest group of clothing I've ever seen on two people, and I just don't understand. Like, do you ever look at people sometimes and their clothing and be like, where did you get this stuff? Like, I don't even know how you found all of these items and then chose to put them together. It's one of those situations.
Clearly a store doesn't sell these garments.
Yeah.
So like, did you trade it with a local townsperson for goods and services? Or did you make them?
They look like chicks that work at Crossroads. Like, they look like they just took all this, like they took from every section of stuff that they just got and put it all on at once to hit the after party.
Like the Spice Girls, sporty, you got Posh, you got
it's a mix
Baby,
of all
but
of them.
you put them all, like if Baby wore Posh's shoes, what the hell? It'd be kind of like that.
But Demi, I mean, it's just really twisted, and I just, also going to Six Flags, that's crazy, bro. You went and saw an animated movie and then hit Six Flags. That's my nightmare.
Oh, 1,000%. I think that seemed to be a who's who.
Even though I love coasters, I'm a coaster freak.
I didn't know that you're a coaster freak.
Oh, I love a coaster. Put me in the back. I keep my seatbelt off. I like to get a little airtime. You know what I'm saying? Much like LeBron James in Space Jam.
What the fuck?
Well, I read this story, so I'm a coaster enthusiast.
I truly do not know any of this.
I'm crazy for coasters. I mean, I'm not going to go to a theme park unless I have special treatment, of course. I'm not going to wait in line.
Yeah.
But no, I when I got I was just researching coasters years ago, and I read this insane
Just for pleasure.
Well, I read this insane story, and I think it might have been in like Vanity Fair or something because it was just really insane. But like these people,
I mean, their coaster coverage on VF is second to none.
VF.com, I go for Hollywood first and coasters second. But then
They're an authority.
there was a story, and basically there was a story about this like community of coaster enthusiasts that trade secrets on coasters and which car to ride it, like the whole that kind of shit.
Got it.
And so there was also secrets about how to kind of stop the bar from going all the way down, or the seatbelt so you catch air. If you're in the very back car, you levitate a bit, much like when you're on edibles for you probably.
Yeah. Okay, I'm listening. Or like the way I feel after a G-Eazy verse.
Exactly. One of the leaders of this subreddit basically.
Hopefully they died.
It's crazier. They flew out of the coaster and were impaled by a tree.
Yeah, that's exactly what these people deserve.
Don't come for coaster.
I have the same stance on all this stuff. The ocean, roller coasters, hot air balloons.
Like, you get what you get.
This is where I'm an ally to the African American community, is none of this stuff is worth it. You probably will live if you go on a hot air balloon, but if something goes wrong, you are 100% dying. And you'll probably live if you go on a roller coaster, but the safety bar that's there to keep you from flying out and dying, if you try to remove that, it's like,
bro,
if
you
drive
really are.
a car
You're bitch made
without
dog.
a seatbelt, the chances of you dying are much higher.
You are bitch made. I knew that about you. You won't even.
You're weighing the pros and cons. It's the same reason why I stopped doing cocaine. After a while,
You're not gonna
the way
die.
I felt after doing cocaine was not worth the way I felt while on cocaine. And that's all every drug or everything. Every food, everything that you just wager that pro versus con. And to me, the pleasure that I get out of riding a fucking stupid ass roller coaster is not enough to risk dying.
It sounds like somebody is a little upset they don't fit in the cars. It sounds like
no, thank God, it's the perfect excuse.
You're feeling disrespected by the coaster community and you're lashing out. That's what it feels like to me.
The coaster community are a bunch of losers. I'll say it.
I mean, look.
But when I was a little kid, was I afraid of roller coasters? The answer is yes. Now it's more of just like, it's just dumb.
The coasters have gotten too advanced. That's the problem. It's like, I don't want to go up. I just want a classic wooden rickety coaster with big drops. I don't want to go upside down. I don't want, you know what I mean? I don't need to go into like.
Bro, this isn't a Skrillex show.
I wish it was.
That was a big drop joke. Sorry.
Oh,
but the wood, the wood one, like there was a classic wood roller coaster at Six Flags called Colossus. I'm sure you have ridden it as an enthusiast. Guess what happened at the Colossus like 4 years ago?
What happened, Jason?
It lit on fire.
That sounds like an act of arson against the coaster community, and I don't. Unless you're taking, I mean, we know you're talking to ISIS about the basketball stuff. I don't know. Did they claim this crime, or is this something that you're putting?
Yeah, we claimed it.
Okay, so ISIS TJ once again, an act of terrorism on Southern California.
This shit ain't worth it, bro. Okay, like when you go into the ocean, like the ocean is amazing, and like you can go out 20 feet, 30 feet, 50 feet, and it's cool. But like, do I need to go 300 feet out? Like when you see those people that are super far out there, like what are you getting from that is worth, if something does go wrong and you're stuck out there in the middle of the ocean, 100 feet deep, nobody can see you. You're just a dot in the eyes of Dwayne Johnson's binoculars as he's working Tower 17.
Bro.
At that point, is it really, like, is that what you needed to do?
Jason, you could say this about so many things. Like,
yeah.
You gorging yourself on pastries from Porto's, do you need to do that? No, but you felt like doing it. Much like if I want a challenging swim.
Yeah, but I'm not going to die if I eat an extra spinach and feta turnover.
No, you're not going to die, but there's going to be some repercussions. You know what I mean? It's about it's about risk and reward. Some people get a great reward. Some people get a great reward.
If I ride Space Mountain and I sit in the back and I try to get a little levitation, the risk is instant and guaranteed decapitation.
Unfortunately,
end of life, bloody mess. The fans are pissed. When the risk happens for me eating a little Porto's nibbler, I'm going to have to do an extra 10 minutes on the elliptical tomorrow.
Oh, that's what you think, but we don't know if 10 minutes is enough. And I would rather, obviously, I would rather die than be fat, as you know. And
you'd rather die doing what you love.
I would rather die doing what I love, which is coastering.
Getting a little bit of sick air on a sick coaster.
And the best part about, the thing that I haven't been to a theme park in literally years because they're hell, but I do appreciate that the theme park industry has much like, nightlife in Vegas, you can just pay more to not do it, to not wait in any lines. So I do think that's true. I do think that the option to do that is interesting. And if I were to go to a theme park to get my coaster fix, I would pay top dollar to, of course, have an escort and cut the line.
And I think they need to normalize that being okay. Because when you go in an airplane, the class system is sort of understood of like, all right, that person is sitting in first class because they spent, $4,800 on this ticket, and I'm sitting 10 rows behind them because I spent $400 on the ticket, and everyone kind of knows what time it is.
Yeah,
but if you're Chrissy Teigen and Big John Legend at Disneyland, and you're cutting past all the fucking sicko fatties from Idaho, shouts goes out to Idaho, waiting in line, they're going to be like, boo, you think you're better than us?
Like, yes, I do.
I wouldn't be able to enjoy the perks of paying more because I'm not as much of a monster as
it doesn't bother me at all. Well,
Nikki voice.
I would have my security with me, obviously, to deal with that, and I would be wearing sunglasses and a hat.
Security can do a lot of things, but they can't really do much about the piercing laser gaze.
Are we sure that tourists?
That's gaze, Gaze, by the way. So
we understand, of course. Do you think people like that are even there to ride coasters, or just try to find the biggest soda they can get? It might not even be. They might not even be in that line. They're in the line for the soda.
These sodas are big, but where are the bigger ones?
Yeah, 64 ounces. This ain't gonna cut it. I'm thirsty. I was reading a newsletter that I enjoyed this morning called The Trend Report by this guy, Kyle Fitzpatrick. And he had something that I thought that
I love trends.
You would like to kind of hear about from a friend of the show, Toby Keith. He has a new song called Happy Birthday America. And just some of the lyrics, seems like everybody's pissing on the red, white, and blue.
Did he drop this track today?
I hope so. Your children want to turn you into something other than yourself, and they burn your flag in the city streets more than anybody else. Toby's got the Draco out.
Yeah, that's poetry.
Have you listened to much Toby?
I don't listen to a ton of Toby, but it's in his best interest with his demographic of hill people to sing stuff about that. People who don't understand that.
I think Toby's more of a pop star, if I'm being honest, bro. I don't think he's really a hill country whisperer.
Drake says he's still in the streets serving fiends, but same vibe.
Does Drake actually say he's in the streets serving fiends?
Doesn't he have a line about how I'm a pop star or I'm not a pop star?
He's claiming he is a pop star, not a doctor.
Right. I'm not a doctor. I'm a pop star. So he is a pop star, but then he's
not serving fiends. He's saying I'm in the lab with 40 creating a masterpiece.
On that specific song, that's what he's saying. But on many other songs, he like many other rappers
claims to be,
as a rapper should, claims to still be in the streets. Still, he's not actually on the corner of 81st and Lenox, doing dime bag deals.
Bro, he's on the corner
of that za.
Hey, I'm outside of Sweaty Betty's on Ossington. If you want a dime bag there, eh? Yeah, if you want to come down, I've got change. Okay, I can give you a couple toonies back. I got a couple toonies here. I can give you back if you need.
I got a fistful of toonies with your name on it, ready to make change, brother man. But he's not obviously doing the murdering himself or the drug dealing himself, but he will say that, hey, not only do I make money off of my tour, my merchandise, album sales, and other various endorsements, failed whiskey companies, but I also have a pretty good amount of dirty money coming in.
You don't know
from my drug dealing and murdering.
You don't know if Drake is serving packs out of the back of the OVO store at the Eaton Center. You don't know, bro. You really don't know.
I don't know that he is doing it himself, but I know for a fact that his sales associates are, for sure.
You're not saying, and you're not talking about OVO sweatsuits. You're talking about illegal contraband.
Well, they're not making money off of the clothes, so how else are they keeping the lights on, Chris?
Jason, actually, that's where you're wrong. It's a booming business with expansion to multiple locations in the U.S. as well as Japan.
Look, we all know that nobody has walked into an OVO store and bought something in the last 6 months. Even fans of Drake are like, I'm all set.
Jason, I hate to tell you this, but you're wrong. I really do hate to tell you this, but you're wrong. I don't think you understand the power of celebrity, which is crazy because you did grow up in Los Angeles and you're talking to one right now.
Nobody wears OVO anymore. Nobody wears OVO sweatpants anymore.
Jason, no one you know wears it because that's what happens when things get actually popular. We don't see it anymore because the 3 places you go in Glendale, unfortunately, they're wearing essentials.
I keep my eyes peeled to the streets, Chris. I'm a trend forecaster. I know a lot about fashion compared to you.
The streets that you're on in Glendale, where Fish King is, or maybe the local Ralph's, are not really the places I'm going to see what the kids are wearing. When's the last time you?
I would disagree. The Ralph's Fresh Fare in Glendale probably has the highest per capita amount of failed OVO owl sweatpants that you're going to see in a greater metropolitan area.
You don't even come tap in with me at the Beverly Center. That's where it's all happening. You already know that's where it's happening. Because if you don't see the Essentials leather tag on the dick, then you ain't got no bread. That's the number one. Even though these sweatshirts are only $100.
In my neighborhood, there's a lot of Essentials going on, but it's clearly not real. It's fake Essentials.
No, Essentials is so cheap, it's probably real. Like, the price point is pretty low.
Not for everyone, Chris. Not for everyone. Not everyone thinks that $100 pair of shorts is cheap.
Sure, not everyone, but anyone who's interested in fashion would, or more accurately, anyone that's interested in fear of God, fog, as we call it on this program.
Any one of our listeners who has a passion for swag.
Which church do you think Jerry takes his family to? I would love to go tap in because now that Hillsong is canceled, is there a cool street? What's the cool streetwear church that's taking?
I guess it's Mosaic,
but that's the one near me. That's not even. But that should.
Well, for Jerry, his church is undefeated.
I go there to worship anytime a new Kobe drops, so I understand that.
Yeah. Okay, well, one cool and good thing I did this weekend was Bay and I had our first real actual date night in the way that things happened pre-pandemic. Like, we went to dinner and a movie, and none of it was altered or changed or modified for any COVID restrictions. Like, went to a restaurant, sat down, had a full meal, went to a parking structure in Burbank, went to a movie theater packed full of Zoomers, and watched a movie with no mask on in a room full of people, and then got in the car and drove home and talked about how bad the movie was. Like, even though it's so simple and so close to what we've all been doing, that was the first time that I've had dinner and a movie in probably 2 years.
Congrats, bro. You're a fucking normie now. How does it feel?
Well, I mean, that's how deprived of that simple slept-on activity that we've been, to where that was almost novel, exciting, and fun.
I understand that. I mean, I think that, I guess I'm encountering, I mean, things are pretty, I haven't worn a mask in days at this point. Which feels
same.
Which feels good, but there's still. Don't worry on this side.
I mean, except the metaphorical ones that we all wear.
Of course, I'm cucked by society. But if you, I think that if you go to the right places, these kind of the kind of stuff you're talking about is fully accomplishable and easy to do.
I know, but like just to go, like, movie theaters have been open for a little while. Like, we could go see Boogie in theaters, brought to you by Eddie Wong. What that seemed like, it was like 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah,
when
probably
you could
was.
go
but
see
I'm sure
it but it wasn't the same.
Yeah,
it was like
distance.
7 people were allowed in the theater. Yeah. Everyone has their mask on, and it's not the same. It's not fucking Raw.
There were no teenagers throwing Skittles at the screen and finger blasting their girlfriend. I mean, it's
or you got 2 masks on. It's like hitting with 2 Magnums on. It's technically doing it, but the soul and the spirit is lost. But this was the first raw dog date night that I had, and it didn't even matter that Zola was a bad movie. It was still an enjoyable evening.
I'm shocked that you chose to see Zola over Fast 9.
I truly abhor the Fast Furious.
I do too. I mean, I'm gonna go.
Franchise.
I'll go see Zola soon. But the amount of people that I know that talk about Fast and Furious and like it's funny to go see it, I can't tell if they're kidding or not. Like, is it ironic?
No, I think it's real. I think it's become some type of like Friends scenario where it's like a Stockholm syndrome effect of like these are just characters that you know so well that it has become comforting, and you don't care that the whole thing is just a commercial for America and the cars. I'm
not exaggerating. I think people think I'm lying. I've never seen a single one of those movies,
and I wish that my hymen was still intact.
I just don't.
But
like, how do you get
unfortunately.
to a point where that's appealing to you? I just don't like. Is your life that boring? That's worse than playing Cards Against Humanity.
I don't think it's a boring thing. I think like the restrictions and governor that you set on yourself.
I like what you did there.
Is not strong enough. that is a card term.
I like what you did there.
Yeah, no, it's you don't have enough constitution set for yourself. The standards are not high enough to where, you know, like if I don't like a movie, I will violently avoid it. I will badmouth it publicly. I will, you know, the same way like I hate McDonald's, and McDonald's is the Fast and Furious campaign for me. It's like it is comforting. It's there for many people. It's just, you know, like I got to go get my McFlurry or like the fries. I'm having a bad day. I just need to hit the drive-thru and get fries. It's comforting. It's there. But it's awful. It's awful.
If fries make you feel good after a hard day, that's tough, man.
I mean, we're all there, and it's all fine. It's all good. I love French fries, and I'm sure McDonald's French fries are great, but I just couldn't. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna I'm gonna draw my line in the sand, and I'm never gonna go to McDonald's because I just think it's bad and wrong, and I could always do better.
It's funny you say that because I've literally been to McDonald's with you in the last 6 months, but that
was only for scientific purposes to try the Travis Scott food. But like my girlfriend, for example, she loves McDonald's, and it's kind of an issue in our relationship because I'm adamantly against it. And I'll go with her, you know, every, you know, I don't know, once or twice a year.
I would say quarterly. No.
I would say every 6 months. And I'll go there and I'll try to do it, and I'll get the thingy and whatever it is. And it's just, I just think it's disgusting.
It is. Well, it is.
But I'm obviously in the minority, and many people think it's great and love it. And it's the same thing as Fast. I think the Fast and Furious franchise is a disgusting franchise for idiots, but a lot of people find it comforting, and there's a lot of things that I find very comforting that's just terrible, and those are just the battles that you choose.
Well, first of all, all that being said, R.I.P. Paul Walker, what a legend.
He was hot.
Was he in anything else?
Hell no.
I think he was. I think he was in like
maybe some modeling.
No, I'm sure he was in an Abercrombie catalog, but I think I'm saying like I think he might have been in like a, you know, some like 10 Things I Hate About You type shit.
May have been that. He was probably in a movie where he played like a guy who like is like a helicopter pilot. You know, his kid died and he has to avenge it or some shit like that.
We watched a great show. I don't know if we watched it earlier and then didn't finish it and finished it last night. It's called Hacks on HBO. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar? Mm-hmm. It's really good. I really liked it.
Yeah, that's a very divisive show.
I mean, of course it has its corny parts, but like it's good overall. I mean, I think the lead actress is very like the aging comedian is very good, and the girl, so the writer, I looked her up on Wikipedia last night. I'm like, oh, she looks like a normal chick, and then I scroll down. Paul Newman is her uncle. I'm like, all right, this bitch, she plugged up. We're all plugged up. Hollywood is a game, baby.
Hollywood nepotism continues. Yeah, I watched that show. The thing that I liked about it the most was like the salty old broad style jokes.
Yeah.
And like, you know,
I just feel like that's not something you see on TV very often. You know what I mean? Like
it's tough for that kind of stuff to get pushed through, and I think it got pushed through because it was sort of showing the changing of the guard from the old style comedian of we did it this way, and you think you're having a problem with, you know, equal rights and shit like that, and sexual harassment. Like, I grew up in the 60s doing this when I was the only one, blah, blah, blah. You know, like a little Mrs. Maisel kind of energy with that. But I did like that that I always love, probably just because I'm old, but like those, those kind of salty old broad version of, the female version of a dad joke, where it's just like, it's just sitting right there and you can't not say it. I always have a soft spot for that shit.
I liked it, though. I think it's good. And, I mean, there was a couple twists that were pretty funny.
Yeah, all in all, pretty good. I enjoyed watching it. I ain't mad at it.
I also just like to watch anything that's not on Netflix, so that made me feel good, always.
You're like, I know I'm paying for Netflix, but I'd like to watch something where it costs a little bit more.
There's part of me that would love to cancel all streaming services.
That's your version of unplugging?
Yeah, my version of unplugging is canceling
of a digital cleanse.
Netflix, and well, I mean, your Hulu with ads, I guess I could live without. And then
No, I'm back.
I know.
You know that there's no ads, bitch.
No, I'm just kidding. HBO Max is a Jake Davis production. So I guess I would only have to cancel one. I would like to not use any of them. And then what if I didn't use Spotify and Apple Music and just listen to the radio?
That happens whenever I'm in the car. I almost always just listen to the radio just as a bit of nostalgia. And I think about things like that. I mean, obviously, when we were talking to, when we had Mikey Alfred on and he was talking about how he just has like a collection of Blu-rays, then that's how he watches everything. Like, I think that's kind of cool. And I have another friend of mine who collects cassette tapes. He has like an old car, so he has like a cool collection of cassette tapes.
Yeah.
And you just listen, like normally you listen to your podcasts and walk around and blah, 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 stream all your shit. But when you're in the car that has the cassette deck, then you only are going to listen to, Siamese Dream on cassette or...
Yeah, I know you have, at least 200 Grateful Dead bootlegs on cassette. So that's pretty cool for you.
No, those are not for playing, Christopher. Those are not for playing. But and also my friend Stevie, shout out Stevie. He has a thing that I really like is his cassette collection. He has like a nice little decorative case with, I don't know, maybe like 24 cassettes of his top picks, and those live in the kitchen. So whenever he's in there cooking, that's when he'll put on just a cassette album.
That's cool.
I was like, that's a perfect setting to listen to a cassette.
I refuse to participate in the cassette comeback, but I appreciate that style. I think that is cool to kind of limit yourself to only classics.
The takeaway that I was about my movie in the theater situation and regular date night like that is like, I think that's kind of what has been missing from our return to entry into our normal life and world are all the activities that are sort of in the middle. We've just been either sitting at home
or going to Santorini. There's no in between.
Or it's just been the two extremes: sitting at home doing jack shit, or like going to a house party where everyone is just like desperately doing ketamine, like taking it way too far.
Yeah.
And nobody had all the stuff in the middle of like, what if we just went to dinner and a movie? And like sometimes that's just what you need, and sometimes that's just what you want. Like it's the same as like only having McDonald's or Noma.
Fucking Noma.
We also need some fast casual in the middle. Like that's sort of the puzzle pieces that normal people needed to fill in their life to feel a little more complete, I guess. And I think that's going to be the big factor, not to be all Kyle Chaka on it, but I think that's going to be the factor that sort of fills in all the gaps of our, just listless wandering through our lives in the last year of like just that normal regular shit.
Speak for yourself. I'm never trying to do that, but I understand. I understand what you're saying.
That's not true.
I don't do. I'm all set. Like I don't.
What do you mean you're all set? You don't. Everyone cool goes to dinner and a movie.
No, I don't. I only.
It's a timeless activity.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not. More power to you. I'm just. I would prefer. I think that's too late.
Okay. Well, I know that you go to dinner, right?
Yeah, but I want to.
But you don't watch movies in the theater.
No, I only watch movies in the theater. But I'm only going to go.
Okay, then what's your beef?
I'm only going to go in the morning when it's not busy. Also, if you
same thing as your roller coaster riding.
If you go dinner and a movie, bro, we're looking at a 10, 11 p.m. bedtime. That's crazy. Like I can't.
It doesn't have to be that way. You can go to a 5:15 dinner, 7 p.m. movie. You're brushing your teeth and putting on your mask at 9:45.
Yeah, but you never know. What if the movie gets you worked up and you can't sleep? And some of us don't have access to. We're not able to puff the CBD to relax.
If the movie gets you worked up, You're like, oh, I'm just tossing and turning in bed.
Yeah.
I'm sweating like a whore in church just thinking about how the C story arc fell apart in the third act.
That's what would happen to. That's why you don't. I'm starting to think that's why you didn't go see Fast 9 because you knew you couldn't sleep for days because you'd be just mulling over the plot lines. Crying about Paul Walker, jerking off to Vin Diesel.
And that's another reason why I hate the Fast franchise. I hate Vin Diesel.
What's the problem with Big Vin? Because he's a better DJ than you?
The only good acting role he's ever done was Groot.
Is he a better DJ than you? Be honest.
Fuck no.
He might be, dog. I mean,
fuck all celebrity DJ. Russell Peters, fuck you. You suck at comedy and DJ.
Russell Peters ain't part of the conversation. Fuck Russell Peters. It's on site, even though he's Canadian.
Ronnie Selkley, NBA star turned DJ, the only other DJ that's taller than me. Fuck you, Ronnie.
There's got to be some more that are okay. There's got to be a couple that are okay.
No. Shaq doesn't count.
Oh, you're saying because Shaq is in the mix.
Yeah, his name is DJ Diesel, and he only plays violent dubstep trap.
Can we get Shaq like an NTS show, or is that not? Is it too aggressive?
No, Shaq has an NBA show, not an NTS
I'm sorry.
show. The check hits a little bit different.
I get my acronyms confused. Do you think Shaq is a NTS founding member?
Shaq makes sizable donations to NTS.
What if
keep underground music
alive?
What if
Shaq's go with his business manager being like, all right, we gave $100,000 to cancer research, we gave $2 million to inner city basketball. Let's give $100,000 NTS because I know that they're trying to up their bandwidth. They need some servers, so let's go ahead and do that.
Now that Shaq has been in the game for a while, he knows that those Allen and Heath 4-channel mixers are not cheap to purchase or to maintain. But I also just Googled and Wikipedia'd Ronnie Seekley? Is that how you pronounce it?
I think it's just Ronnie Seekley.
Seekley.
You're going a little too crazy, bro.
Well, he's Arabic, Lebanese.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if it's pronounced with a little more zatar on that, but his listed height and weight 6'10", 253. So if I go see Pickle Rick and do a couple Pilates classes, I'm 6'10". So he's not technically taller than me, but he does have about 50 pounds on Big TJ.
Yeah, I mean, look, he can whip your ass on the decks and on the street, is what it sounds like to me, and that ain't nothing.
Well, he's 56 years old, so I don't know, I don't know how much. He probably has old man strength, but if he's DJing,
no, his knees are,
he's got bottle service belly.
His knees are hurting for sure. He's probably got the hokas stay on in the booth. You know what I mean? To keep
he got those special hokas
to keep the ACLs intact because you don't want to the meniscus. It's sensitive after.
When you're on hour 7 after you're closing out after Villalobos. In Turks and Cake, it's brutal on those kneecaps.
To see the sun rise, the only solution. Oh, by the way, I did get a Pickle Rick update yesterday. A friend of mine that I met at Undefeated at the gym. She's like in the fitness world, and she was like, it was fucked up. It was so amazing, but I'm so glad you warned me about the setting because I would have definitely left.
Hopefully, after all of Rick's newfound business, thanks to our podcast,
he'll get a studio.
He spruced things up at the crib, but I like his DIY spirit.
I do too.
Not unlike our last podcast guest, who was a Zine maker.
I love Zines.
Just keeping it underground.
Are you saying that Pickle Rick is the DIY punk spirit that we need in our recovery?
I think so.
Well, I've been using my Normatec boots.
What is up with that name, Normatec? Is that like Norma,
I don't know,
like
bro.
Somebody's name, or is it like normal?
I don't know, but the motherfucker's a lactic acid killer. I'll tell you that. It pulls out the brah, and I am just it
hits you in the lac.
It just feels. It really does feel pretty incredible. Like I do 40 minutes after if I do like a proper leg day or tennis or run.
40 must be nice.
Yeah.
Who has the time?
Well, I mean, you could do other stuff, Jason. It's not like you're, when you're fucking walking your dog, you could be recovering. Think about that.
You can wear that while you're walking around. I thought you have to just like lay on your couch.
I'm saying some of us choose important things over raising rescue animals. That's what I'm saying.
Oh. Chris, you're not going to make any fans with that line of speech.
Oh, sorry. I value human life over animals. That's crazy. I mean, I guess that's not very vegan of me. I do feel bad.
Chris,
is PETA coming for me?
You need to be rescued, is what it sounds like.
I don't want PETA. I'm a friend. I distributed your pamphlets for years. Don't come for me.
All right, I got 2 more items on the docket before we close out. What do you think about our Olympic sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson getting let go from the Olympics for puffing on that pure beauty?
Well, I mean, there's 2 sides of this. I mean, it's like obviously stupid, but I mean, but also I think it's an understood thing with an Olympic athlete that they're going to test you for drugs.
The rules are the rules.
Yeah, I mean, the rules are stupid, but
the rules are stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I love to break rules, and she's an incredible athlete and should absolutely be going to the Olympics. But also, I'm sure if you are in the pipeline to go to the Olympics, you know what the rules are.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that's true.
I mean, I think it's
a good step for marijuana reform.
Oh, totally. And I also think, I mean, the issue is more the Olympics being cursed, in many ways. And probably,
yeah.
I mean, the Olympics are the real problem, and it's antiquated, and they're making a lot of, I mean, the swim cap thing is fucking crazy. The trans testosterone stuff is crazy. I would say this is actually the least offensive thing the Olympics have done in the last week. To be honest, like,
shout out to the hashtag No Olympics movement.
Banning a certain kind of swim cap for like black hair is insane.
Yeah,
like all of the trans stuff and like all the testosterone shit is absolutely insane.
Okay,
like it's actually stupid and like truly offensive. Whereas like the weed thing is like it's a little more cut and dry.
Yeah,
it's all bad. It's all bad. But I think that it's kind of crazy when you think that's the least of the bad things they did in 1 week.
Hopefully, in the near future, I'd say in the next 10 years, marijuana use will be allowed in professional sports. I think it's where a lot of professional athletes are starting to get more vocal about it, and
I think it's already happening. I mean, I think it's already happening, and obviously, I think in basketball and football,
science is there, the facts are there.
Basketball and football, maybe it's already like they're not gonna. They want you don't get penalized, I believe.
But it's not going to make you a bad person. Like, I feel like you're less likely to, technical foul somebody or push CP3 from behind if you're gone off of the edibles.
CP3 needed that push, but yeah, I mean, I think that you're right. I agree with you. I mean, I think the whole thing is just. I mean, also the Olympics in general is like pretty antiquated.
Yeah, I think we're all set on the Olympics, and also we don't need to see. It's great, and I'm glad that they're getting some recognition, because if you're an Olympic sprinter and you're the fastest person in the world, unless you're the one person that gets the Wheaties box, like you're devoting your life to a skill that makes you no money.
Yeah,
so I like that they get that recognition, but I think we got to burn the Olympics down and start a new thing somehow. But because
I mean, that's the Olympics will forever be around because it's a giant moneymaker for a lot of people, and it's also like one thing that the world comes together on.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I guess less so now, but you know what I mean.
It's time that we replace it with the ZA Olympics, which I think I need to go tap in and see what the latest is with that.
That's the only Olympics I'm celebrating. I'm with you. What was the second trending topic that you needed to discuss with me?
Well, I don't. It's a tough one, but have you seen what's going on over at the old Wi Spa, my favorite Korean spa in Koreatown?
I was going to bring this up to you because I don't exactly understand, but I saw that Antifa had descended upon Wi Spa, which seems insane.
Antifa and also alt-right Trumpies were there too. So Wi Spa, you've been there before, right?
I actually haven't. I mean, I'm familiar though. It's like a legendary spot.
It's a big Korean spa. It's unisex. You walk in. There's the men's side. There's a woman's side. You go to the locker. You take all your clothes off, and you are sort of meant to walk around naked.
Yeah.
They give you a towel, but it's a tiny towel that. It's bigger than a hand towel, but it's not big enough to wrap around your body.
It's not gonna hold the hog.
And it's sort of implied that you're a pussy if you cover up your dick when you're walking around. It's sort of like you go there to. It's like a little bit of a rite of passage. If you're a dad, you bring your son there to see some hog for the first time. If you're a mom, you bring your daughter there to be familiarized and comfortable with the human body.
Sure.
And then you go to the hot tub, you go to the cold tub, you lay around, you get a body scrub by an old Korean grandma. Halmoni hits you with some leaves and shit, and then you shower up and you go in the unisex room, you eat some noodles. It's nice. But there was a trans person with male genitalia that was identifying as a woman, went to the female side of the locker room and basically disrobed and was allegedly swinging hog, and it made people uncomfortable in there. And they were saying, the people that worked at WeSpa were saying, if they identify as a woman, then we have to let them go in there. And then that's where this outrage sort of ensued.
Like that's honestly insane. That's something to be outraged about. First of all, letting it swing probably means changing clothes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like let's be real. I don't think it was like a performance piece. You know what I mean?
It wasn't. They weren't violently masturbating.
Yeah. I mean, it's just everything is fucked. People are so insane. Like the things that people are concerned about and the things that people truly like choose to spend their time rioting against. Like you're gonna a minority owned small business is what you really. That's what we need to take down.
Yeah,
that's what we need to take down.
The first thing I thought is, having been to WeSpa a bunch of times, I think the demographic is primarily just like old Korean people. And I think those people, I guess I'm stereotyping them, but they seem like they might be the most
resistant.
They're the least demographic of people who are used to that type of stuff. Of like, if you're like an 80-year-old Korean grandma and you see a guy changing next to you in the locker, or a woman changing next to you in the locker with a penis, you're going to be like, what in the fuck is happening? Why am I seeing a penis in here? I've been going here for 30 years and this is a woman's room. But that is not what happened. It was just a regular person that was outraged. So I'm pleased to see that the original community of WeSpa, older Korean people
aren't the ones.
We're not the ones who are up in arms about it. But it was, it's the people who have to find everything to complain about who are up in arms about it. And fuck those people.
Fuck that. We support WeSpa. We support
WeSpa.
We support our trans brothers and sisters. We don't support Antifa. Well, I don't. Jason might. But I won't speak for him.
DJ's Antifa.
DJ, it's a pleasure. Beautiful Sunday. Go, blow your thumb off in Glendale with some fireworks. Enjoy your, I would say, non-American Banh Mi celebration. That's an interesting choice, but that's yours.
I'm gonna make TJ's all-American banh mi for lunch today.
So banh mi is like code word for apple pie, I hope, but we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out later.
Banh mi, it's gonna be a hot dog bun with a hot dog inside of it. There's gonna be a cucumber spear.
I'll put a little jalapeno on top, but it's a hot diggity dog. Happy 4th of July, Jason. Love your work. God bless America.
God bless America, brother man.